I have finally, from Ursula Brecht's collection, 6 absolutely wonderful French dolls that I just want to share with you briefly, and hopefully you'll get to see them in person. The first one, among the rarest of the French dolls to be found, is the Bébé by Pierre Clement. Pierre Clement was a shoemaker. Now that sounds funny that a shoemaker is a doll maker, but he actually worked with shoe forms and leather, and you would come in and you would want to have a shoe made for yourself, and he would stretch the leather and stitch it, and somewhere along the line, because of some other connections he had with the doll world, he started thinking, well, why couldn't I take that same leather that I make a shoe, when you make a hollow shoe, why couldn't I make a hollow doll body out of leather, forming it around a mold? And that's what he did. He designed his bébé to be made of what is called molded or blown leather. Now, if the body looks familiar to some of you, any of you who have ever seen the body of the Hooray Bébé, this is almost exactly a duplicate of the Hooray Bébé body. There are some identifiable pieces, however, that will always allow you to know that it is Clement, and that is you'll be able to see the almost hidden seam at the back of the legs that he brought together in making the body. It's a beautiful body. It is surprisingly light. If any of you came along and picked this up, you'd be taken aback at first because you could not imagine how light the body is. Beautifully made body. We have had, this is the second Clement Bébé we've ever had to sell. And to have it in this condition is extraordinarily rare. She has a wonderful antique costume that goes with her, including this little basket of flowers, which I think is just dear and really accentuates her little hand. Beautiful bisque face, one of the earliest bébés, about 1875. So a very, very rare gem to have. Next, I want to show you what I have described in the catalog as a mystery bébé, because I simply can't decide who she is and where she came from. My first thought was to call her a Hooray Bébé, and I think when you look at her face, you would certainly really not argue with me about it. She has very distinctive features like the lines coming down on the sides of her mouth, the very bulbous neck socket, but it's just hard to really definitely say that, and her body is, while a very early body, is definitely not a Hooray body, so we don't know what she is. She's a gorgeous early doll. For those of you who are always on the lookout for something different, unique, something you can kind of get on a research foray about, this is the doll for you, because she is gorgeous, very rare, and she needs to know where she came from, and you can be the one to help her find it. The Ursula Brecht collection has bébés by French doll makers that are very, very seldom appear. I haven't even shown you any of the wonderful dolls by Raybury and Delfure, by Schmidt et Fils, and others that appear in this catalog. I wanted to bring out and show you these two because these appear over and over in her calendars from the 1980s and 1990s and in her early doll books, and they were obviously great favorites of hers, so I hope she gets to enjoy the videos and see the dolls again too. Both of these are by Petit and Dumontier, and dolls by that firm very, very seldom ever show up. They have these very distinctive fat little faces that are really dramatized by the pale complexions that they have and very, very deep features. I love the costume on this little girl with her little ermine-tipped collar and around on her coat and her just wonderful shoes and the matching hat. They're both very, very beautiful examples of Petit and Dumontier bébés. And finally, 2 gorgeous bébés by Theriault, known as the AT bébés. 2 wonderful ones from the Ursula Brecht collection. And I don't know, they're so much alike and yet so different. If you see them both in a profile, you can see that one has a little more rounded face and one has a little more, a rounded nose rather, and one has a little more pointy nose. Eyes are very, very similar. Painting is similar, but yet, like all gorgeous dolls, they have a difference. They have a personality that you would recognize them across the room if you saw them again, and you would recognize which was which. Beautiful dolls. Now, this particular one right here has a wonderful costume that I believe is all original. It's frail, but it is so fine. And let me show you the back of it as well. You see the wonderful lace, the way it fits her perfectly. Little flounce at the back. It has the lace, little lace ruffle, dust ruffle attached to it, the original. And even below that has more. It's just wonderful. And she has cream kidskin shoes with the impressed signature of the Greyhound, that particular maker of French doll shoes. She holds her own little suede gloves, and she holds a parasol with, it's either a dog or a duck head handle. Very, very beautiful. And her sister. I saved this for last because this is a doll that Ursula Brecht featured on the front of her catalog, front of her book, Precious Dolls, that she wrote in 1983. And here the doll is perfectly preserved still. Absolutely a stunning, stunning doll. And let me turn it and show you the back of it as well. Their little beadwork purse. Wonderful rose satin shoes. I'm always jealous about the doll book that was written years ago called As If They Might Speak, because I wish I had that title. Because some of these dolls do look as though their lips are about to break open and they're about to tell you some great secret that they have. And this doll certainly personifies that. I want to close this little session with reading something to you from Ursula Brecht's book that I've just shown you. This is the piece, an epilogue she put at the back of her book. Play is a dream, a fantasy, a way to lose oneself. Play is not restricted by age. The blissful state a child sinks into can be experienced by grown-ups who have kept a little of the child within themselves. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope to see you at the auction. I hope you can enjoy the catalog and just have a wonderful time with dolls and keep a little bit of the child in yourself always. Thank you.